My brother-in-law had already been married 4 times. Every woman who married him would leave him by the next day, claiming she couldn't stay. It was baffling, curious, and desperate. I decided to arrange his 5th marriage to my 14-year-old sister. On their wedding night, I hid in the room to find out what exactly went wrong every time. Barely 2 hours had passed when I saw 2 men climbing through the window. Earlier that morning, heavy rain had been pouring nonstop. The weather was terrible, a stark contrast to the scorching heat we had been enduring. But when it rains after days of heat, there's a strange, refreshing joy in the air. We had been expecting a family to visit that day to meet my brother-in-law for a marriage proposal, but because of the rain, they couldn't make it. I had prepared a lavish feast for the guests, and since it seemed wasteful to let the food go uneaten, we decided to throw a small family party instead. Everyone in the house gathered, and we enjoyed the food I'd worked so hard to prepare. But my brother-in-law seemed upset. He had been looking forward to meeting the potential bride's family, and their absence clearly soured his mood. "Don't worry," I tried to console him. "If they couldn't come today, they'll surely visit tomorrow." I added teasingly, "Besides, this isn't the first time someone's come to meet you." My sarcastic remark didn't go unnoticed, and he glared at me. "It's not like they're coming to see me for the first time," he snapped angrily. "Whoa, calm down." "I was just joking," I said, trying to diffuse the tension. But he stormed out of the house, leaving me standing there, confused and a little guilty. What did I even say wrong? I only told the truth, I muttered to myself while cleaning up the dishes in the kitchen. This was the 4th time a family was coming to see my brother-in-law for a potential marriage proposal. He had already been married 3 times, but none of his marriages lasted. What was puzzling was that his wives would leave almost immediately. Some didn't even last through the wedding night. One bride left after just 8 days of marriage, saying she was going to visit her parents, and never came back. This situation weighed heavily on all of us. While the rest of the family was happy in their respective lives, my brother-in-law's failed marriages were a source of constant embarrassment. Oddly enough, he wasn't a bad person. He was soft-spoken, polite, and open-minded, qualities that anyone would appreciate. In contrast, my husband was a bit stern, yet I managed to adjust and make things work. But for some reason, none of my brother-in-law's wives could endure staying with him. The accusations were brutal. One wife called him impotent, while others hurled different kinds of insults at him. I was deeply worried. What was going to happen to this boy? His failed marriages didn't just bring shame to him. They affected the whole family. On top of that, I couldn't manage the house on my own. I had hoped that once he settled down, I'd finally have someone to share the household responsibilities with. 6 months ago, I arranged his 3rd marriage, thinking maybe this time it would work. But his wife left, claiming the same thing, that he was impotent. The humiliation was unbearable. My brother-in-law locked himself in the house for days, refusing to face anyone. It took me weeks to convince him to meet his friends and go out again, even just a little. When I first got married and moved into this house, there were only 3 people: my husband, my mother-in-law, and my brother-in-law. I thought to myself, great, it's a small family. There won't be too much work. But I couldn't have been more wrong. My husband's business associates frequently visited, and so did their relatives. I felt like a full-time housekeeper, always cooking and cleaning for the endless stream of guests. I hadn't even had time to fully enjoy my own marriage yet. Overwhelmed by the workload, I convinced my mother-in-law to arrange my brother-in-law's first marriage. To everyone's shock, his first wife left on their wedding night without a trace. She disappeared, leaving no clue as to where she went. My husband and mother-in-law tried their best to resolve the situation, but my brother-in-law refused. She told me on the first night that she wasn't happy and that she loved someone else, he confessed. I can't stay with a woman who has a past like that. After the initial arguments over his failed marriages, we decided to arrange a second marriage for my brother-in-law. But this time, the bride left just 8 days later. Frustrated and confused, we asked him what went wrong. He dismissed it casually, saying he didn't like her. Despite our efforts to reason with him, he remained indifferent. Once again, we chose silence. Then came his 3rd marriage. But shockingly, his 3rd wife left the very first night, accusing him of being impotent. This devastated my brother-in-law. He fell into deep despair, but I tried to console him. Life is full of ups and downs. This too shall pass, I reassured him. Yet I couldn't shake the nagging question. Why wouldn't any woman stay with him? He was good-looking and wealthier than even my husband. He spent most of his days at home, working on his computer, and somehow made a substantial income. Whenever we asked how he earned money, he would vaguely reply, "I do online work," and we let it go at that. This morning he was excited. Another family was coming to meet him for a marriage proposal, but as luck would have it, heavy rain ruined the day, and they couldn't make it. My brother-in-law was visibly disheartened. Days passed in silence, and I began to wonder if there was another way to solve this problem. That's when the idea struck me. I decided to propose my younger sister's hand in marriage to him. My sister, just 16 years old, would be a perfect match for him, I thought. She was young, cheerful, and would also help me with household chores. Plus, with the amount of money my brother-in-law was earning, she would live a comfortable life. I discussed the idea with him, and though he was hesitant at first, he eventually agreed. Wasting no time, I approached my family with the proposal. My parents were initially against it, but my sister herself insisted, and they finally relented. Today was the day my brother-in-law and my sister officially got engaged. I was thrilled. The thought of living under the same roof with my best friend, my sister, was exhilarating. We shared a special bond, and the idea of us being in the same house forever made me incredibly happy. I teased her endlessly about my brother-in-law, and her shy smiles gave away her excitement. Even my brother-in-law seemed genuinely pleased for the first time in ages. The wedding day finally arrived. It was a joyous occasion. My brother-in-law looked happier than I'd ever seen him, and my sister, dressed like a fairy after her salon appointment, looked stunning. After the nikah ceremony, we enjoyed the feast and performed the wedding rituals. We then brought the bride, my sister, back home. For their wedding night, I decorated their room beautifully. After ensuring everything was perfect, I brought my sister into the room, helped her settle in, and then left. But I couldn't suppress my curiosity. I had to know what exactly happened during those first nights that drove every bride away. Why did they all leave, and why did they all hate my brother-in-law? This time, I decided to find out for myself. After dinner, I sent the guests to their rooms, attended to my husband, and slipped into their bedroom unnoticed. I hid under their bed, determined to observe everything that unfolded. My sister was sitting nervously on the bed, her face covered by a long veil. My brother-in-law entered the room, looking ecstatic. He seemed overwhelmed with emotions as he looked at my sister. Her head bowed modestly. I held my breath, waiting to see what would happen next. I was terrified that any small movement might give away my hiding spot under the bed. I held my breath, making sure even my heartbeat didn't betray me. If my brother-in-law discovered me hiding there, it would be beyond humiliating. What would my sister and he think of me? Why was I spying? These thoughts plagued me as my heart pounded faster with every passing moment. When my brother-in-law locked the door, my anxiety grew. I feared my secret would be exposed. He approached the bed and sat down. From under the bed, I could see his dangling feet. He began speaking sweetly to my sister, saying loving and affectionate things. But then, he said something that sent a shiver down my spine. He told my sister that if she agreed to his plan, they could make a lot of money together. Confused, my sister asked what he meant. He revealed his disgusting scheme. He intended to share her with his friends that night in exchange for money. If she refused, he threatened to divorce her. My sister, terrified of the idea of divorce, reluctantly agreed. Listening from under the bed, I felt my blood boil. I wanted to jump out, slap him across the face, and scream at him for his depravity. I couldn't believe I had thrown my innocent 16-year-old sister into the clutches of this monster, but I remained frozen, powerless to stop what was unfolding. Anger welled up inside me, not just at him, but also at my sister for giving in to his vile demands. Moments later, the window creaked open, and two men climbed into the room. They handed my brother-in-law a wad of cash, laughing as they